So Dr. Eggman has done it. He's managed to circumvent due process with the British board and UCAD, and he'll be fighting in Florida this Saturday. Most of you guys don't like this. I definitely don't like this because he hasn't proven his innocence. What he's done is exploit a loophole over jurisdiction. I, for one, will be hoping that the British board and UCAD win their appeal and will actually get a satisfactory resolution to this whole debacle, whether he's proven guilty or innocent. I want to see him go before UCAD and the board and actually present his evidence and them to make a ruling based on that, not getting out of it based on jurisdiction. So that's that. But for now, he's fighting a guy called Rodolfo Orozco. Now, if you have a look at his BoxRec page here, looks like a schoolboy. He's 23-3 with 3 draws as well, 24 KOs. He's from Mexico, 6 foot 1 inches tall. Doesn't look like much, but there's a lot of Mexican fighters who don't look like much that can actually really fight. So looks can be deceiving. I'm not saying it's necessarily the case with this guy, but I guess we'll find out if you choose to watch it on Saturday. That is, a lot of people, I have to imagine, might want to boycott Conor Benn's fights in protest of the fact that he's avoiding due process. Now, look at this here. This guy has had every single one of his fights in Mexico. He hasn't fought in the United States yet. This will be his first time. And generally speaking, guys who have talent in Mexico will end up fighting in the United States sooner rather than later. Maybe after 20 fights, 30 fights, somebody's going to discover them, pick them up, bring them to the United States, and they'll get some type of opportunity. The fact this guy hasn't fought in the United States yet, and remember, he's had 3 losses and 3 draws, only 24 years of age though. And in Mexico, for those of you who don't know, fighters either don't have any amateur fights at all, or they have very short amateur careers. That's typically how it goes in Mexico. They turn pro very, very young. I mean, I'm not sure what the minimum age requirement is now for professional boxing in Mexico, but back in the days, fighters were turning pro at 15, okay? That might still be going on, I'm not sure. And as I say, they wouldn't have many amateur fights or any at all, and they would have basically all their learning fights as pros, as skinny little teenagers fighting men, yes, but absolute puddings and pies, and then they would finally build up to fighting guys around their own age who have limited ability, and then if they prove themselves, up and up they go, and the better the competition gets. I'm sure you understand the process. So that's how they do it in Mexico. We'll see if this 6 foot 1 inch guy has anything for Conor Benn at all. Yeah, Dr. Eggman. I saw an interview with Eddie Hearn where he said that Conor Benn's been tested a load of times in the run up to this fight, and that the Florida Commission actually insisted that he was tested immediately and that they received the results before the fight actually takes place. So they had those results expedited with VADA. So there you go. That's Conor Benn, Dr. Eggman, facing off against this guy on Saturday. Will you be watching it or will you be boycotting it? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I think probably most people will watch it because of the fact that it's going to be part of DAZN's normal subscription. So if you've got DAZN, I have to imagine most people are going to watch. And here's the thing. As many others have said, as Outmatch Boxing was saying in his video about this particular story, Conor Benn is an exciting fighter to watch. I was enjoying watching Conor Benn. I was enjoying watching him against the Chris Van Heerdens and the Chris Algiris, where you could see the clear improvement, you could see the punching power, you could see the excitement, the aggression. He very much reminds me of his old man. But the way he's handled this whole UCAD debacle is really, really off-putting. So you're kind of conflicted because on one hand, as a boxing fan, you want to see how good this guy can be, how far he can go, how many good fights he can be in. But on the other hand, you're thinking it's just not right for somebody to be able to circumvent due process after failing several tests. I've never known this to happen before. Yeah, there have been many fighters that have failed tests over the years, but to fail tests and then not actually have a hearing about the test, but be able to get around it through a loophole in jurisdiction, like, come on. Never seen it before. Yes, there are fighters out there who are on stuff and they don't get caught, but until something comes out about them, we won't know who they are or how many of them there are. It's when a fighter actually gets caught, there's supposed to be a process in place to make sure that justice is served, right? Or some type of justice. Even if they get a ban which you think is not good enough, at least they've got something. At least there's been some type of resolution. But with Conor Benn's case, no resolution, despite the semantic nonsense that Eddie Hearn keeps coming out with. Oh, he's cleared to box this, that, and the other. Yeah, cleared to box based on what? Based upon proving himself innocent? No. And that's what the public want. Eddie Hearn keeps on talking about Conor Benn cleared himself with the WBC. What more do you want? Then people wanted him to go clear himself with UKAD. Yeah, because the WBC can't ban him, Eddie. What the hell does that mean? Clearing yourself with the WBC? Why didn't you go through UKAD in the first place? He's acting like Conor Benn is being made to jump through hoops, which is nothing short of absolute nonsense. Conor Benn isn't being made to jump through hoops. He's being asked to do exactly what every other fighter does who tests positive and put himself before UKAD and the British board, put his evidence forward instead of circumventing it. So the gaslighting from Eddie Hearn at the moment is, well, not quite Tyson Fury level, but he's getting there. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Dr. Eggman coming back against this unheralded, unknown Mexican fighter. And before I go, I want to give a shout out to all the new subscribers to my Patreon page. I cover loads of different topics in my weekly podcast, as you can see on screen right now, from current events to deep dives down the rabbit hole and everything in between. I'm really enjoying the feedback and the discussions we've been having on there lately. So if you'd like to join the conversation, just click the link in the description box below. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast, where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.